Some mysteries were never meant to be solved. Some crimes left no clues. And some people vanished forever. Welcome to Mystery Ledger, where real mysteries are uncovered. To kill a ghost, you first have to make him real. For years, the CIA's Iran operations group didn't just watch Ayatollah Khamenei, they lived his life. Every delivery of medicine, every change in security detail, every time the elevator to his 150-foot deep bunker was serviced, it was logged. The Americans called it pattern of life surveillance, a digital shadow that never sleeps. They mapped the invisible. Every breath, every movement within the compound became a data point. But among the petabytes of data, one anomaly began to surface. A routine so precise it was mechanical. Analysts discovered something they hadn't expected. A predictable lapse in the Supreme Leader's absolute security. It centered on the elevator, the only way down to a bunker reinforced with enough concrete to survive a nuclear strike. This was the 5-minute rule, the exact time it took for Khamenei to move from his office to the safety of the bunker. For 300 seconds, the most protected man in Iran was out in the open, transitioning between worlds. In the world of high-stakes intelligence, 5 minutes is an eternity, a razor-thin window of total vulnerability. To confirm this, they needed more than eyes in the sky. They needed ears inside the walls, literally. During a renovation years prior, the CIA managed to bug the very concrete used to reinforce the bunker. Microseismic sensors, capable of detecting the unique vibration of the elevator's motor and the footsteps of those inside. We didn't need a microphone in his office. We listened to the building itself. It spoke to us in rhythms of vibration and heat. Every time that elevator moved, we knew who was on it by the weight distribution and the pace of the stop. The security detail was world-class, but even they were creatures of habit. They moved in sync with the 5-minute rule. As the sun set over Tehran, the digital ghost would vanish into his underground fortress, unaware that his every step was a beat in a CIA drum. This wasn't just surveillance. This was preparation. The groundwork for an operation that would never officially exist. The files were redacted. The names were changed, but the pattern of life logs remained, buried in a secure server in Virginia. They had the ghost in a cage of his own routine. Now they just had to wait for the right moment to strike. The concrete bugs continued to pulse, transmitting the heartbeat of a nation's secrets across oceans. But tracking a ghost is one thing, catching him, that's where the real mystery begins. In 2025, the US blinked. A strike on the Supreme Leader was deemed too destabilizing. The 12-day war of June 2025 had brought the world to the brink, but Washington hesitated to pull the trigger. They thought the status quo was safer than the unknown. They were wrong. By early 2026, the world they knew was gone. Firefights in the Strait of Hormuz became the new normal. The global oil supply was a hostage to the shadow war. Then came the bread riots. It started in Mashhad, a sudden, desperate explosion of anger that caught everyone off guard. By the time the fires reached Tehran, the regime wasn't just reeling, it was fighting for its very survival. By February, the calculus changed. Iran's nuclear breakout was complete. The red line had been crossed. They weren't just close anymore. They had the bomb. And they were facing an internal revolt they couldn't control. The Supreme Leader was trapped between his own people and a world that could no longer look away. The order from the White House was simple, direct, and final. Find the window. Find the moment he's vulnerable. Intelligence assets on the ground confirmed a high-level meeting, a moment of rare visibility for a man who lived in shadows. It was a glass-roofed sunroom. Khamenei was scheduled to be above ground, exposed to the sky for exactly 40 minutes. For the first time in decades, the digital ghost was no longer hidden by 150 feet of concrete. He was under glass. The window was open, the target was identified. All that remained was the execution of a plan that had been years in the making. 08:10 a.m., Tehran time. While the city drank its morning tea, 30 bunker busters were already in the air. This wasn't a carpet bombing, it was a surgical deletion, the culmination of a plan that ignored borders and treaties. They flew low, skimming the jagged peaks of the Zagros Mountains, staying beneath the sweeping eyes of S-400 radar. Electronic warfare units flooded the spectrum. To the Iranian defense networks, the sky was a blank, static-filled void. The Americans and Israelis were moving in sync. A binary weapon aimed at a single point of failure. The goal was a daisy chain detonation, a sequence of explosions timed to fractions of a second. The first bomb clears the path, the second widens the gap, the third doesn't leave witnesses. These munitions were designed to penetrate 30 meters of reinforced concrete in less than 2 seconds. The 5-minute rule had been calculated to the heartbeat. The Saturday session was exactly 40 minutes of total exposure. When the first daisy chain hit, the target had exactly 60 seconds to realize the bunker wasn't a fortress. It was a tomb. The heart of the room became ground zero for a localized earthquake, a technical masterpiece of destruction. At 8:15 a.m., the pulse of the building stopped. The digital ghost had finally been silenced. The mission was a surgical success. But in the Shadow War, every ending is just the prologue to a deeper mystery. The files were moved to the deepest vaults. The names were redacted again. The cycle of secrets continued. Decapitation strikes are designed to end wars before they start. But as the smoke cleared over Tehran on February 28th, a new, more dangerous question emerged. Does killing the man truly kill the movement? History suggests the answer is never that simple. The Interim Leadership Council made their first televised address. New faces, but the same uncompromising rhetoric. In the world of high-stakes intelligence, a vacuum is never empty for long. Something always rushes in to fill the space. Did the strike end the threat, or did it simply start a countdown to a much larger explosion? From the Strait of Hormuz to the corridors of Washington, the world is holding its breath, waiting for the counterstrike. The ledger remains open. Every action has a reaction, and in the Shadow War, every secret has a price. We pulled the trigger to find peace. Now we wait to see if we found a new kind of war. A single light in a darkening street. A silent witness to a change no one can undo. Some mysteries are solved, and some are forgotten, and some are still waiting. You're watching Mystery Ledger. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you in the next investigation.